Hi.
Hi. There's some deliciousness floating in the air around here. Hi, Dean. Hi, Dudley. I'm Liz Sterling, and I'm sitting here with Dean Dudley Evenson from Soundings of the Planet. Normally, before an interview, I'll get like real hyped up and ready to go, and you just like smoothed the way. So thank you for that beautiful entree to our interview together. So we have so much that's led up to the publishing of your book, Quieting the Monkey Mind, How to Meditate with Music. I don't need to tell you that we just had a meditate with music experience, so thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been together many, many times in intimate environments, so this is the closest we've been while you've been playing, and it was real nice. So, hi, Dudley.
Hey, great to be here, Liz. I'm so honored to
Soundings of the Planet. So I understand that we've got a couple of anniversaries happening almost simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
You're meeting each other just about 50 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
being in relationship with each other and married. We're coming up to just about that 50-year mark. And Soundings of the Planet was birthed 40 years ago. You're celebrating your 40th anniversary.
Yes.
So mazel tov and happy anniversary.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll the clock back, get a little bit of history so that we can lay the foundation, and then we're going to come right into the present day, and we're going to even look into the future a little bit about your dreams and visions. So who's going to take us, roll the clock back to 1968.
Oh boy, that was quite a year, wasn't it? For those of you who weren't around then, you missed it. It was fun.
Yeah.
So Dean and I were really lucky that we met. He moved in across the hall from me, and we just
Yeah,
had
I was just out of graduate school.
I understand like molecular biology or something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
have got a master's degree in molecular biology.
Wow. That
Um,
sounds like it's scientific and very molecular.
It was very interesting, but I had a fellowship, I had all the support to do it. But I found that in my last year of master's work, I was spending 4/5 of my time playing music. I had a folk group going, a rock and roll group going, and I was doing music for an art professor who was doing film work.
Uh-huh.
And I just got the picture. I finished up what I had been doing and went to New York City to learn more about what music was all about.
Wow.
And what the music business was about. And
Oh.
I had had some experience doing audio engineering, so I became an audio engineer.
Uh-huh.
And I moved
Wow.
in across the hall from Dudley.
That's how you met. So you
That's-
went to New York to learn more about the craft
Mhm.
and the business in relationship to this music that was birthing through you.
Yes.
And you did complete your degree.
Yes.
Many people will abandon and then they'll just run off, but you...
Oh, I was very interested in what I was doing.
Uh-huh.
I was studying the heterotrophic and autotrophic growth of Gracilla strain Z.
Okay.
Euglena.
All right. Okay, well, next.
just what everybody wants
Well,
to know.
I mean, I could stop and ask you about it, but I can tell you your music is reached way many more people than that field of study.
Yeah.
Probably, because I know we're going to come to 1 billion listens on Pandora alone in this digital age. But we're still back in the 60s. There's no such thing. You're meeting each other in New York City, early 1970s, or was it in 68?
Well, we met in 68, but Dean and I got married in 1970. And it was a momentous year. He stopped growing he stopped shaving. So this is his beard.
It
It's
was like, hello, I love you, stop shaving?
Think of how much. No,
I don't think so.
it was. He had been. Well, it was your recording engineering job ended. So
Right, yeah. I
he just-
completed with that. And
What was it? What made you say I'm not going to shave anymore? Because look at what we've got here.
I just got tired of shaving.
Okay.
It was pretty simple.
So,
But it was also the day we bought our Sony half-inch video Portapack. So we did video. That was our other field
Portable
of interest.
video in those days was a 35-pound pack you carried on your shoulder,
Wow.
and an 8-pound camera that was connected by a wire. And it was fascinating because we had been doing some film work for a Sam Shepard play.
Uh-huh.
And
You mean the two of you together?
Right,
Yeah.
we did a little film thing, and it was at Lincoln Center, and then we were researching because we wanted to buy our own camera. And so Dean was working one of his 23-hour days at the recording studio, and I was doing the research, and I found this one shop. They said, hey, there's this portable video, and I brought home the material. We decided to go ahead and buy it. Instant replay, you can reuse the tapes. We started out wanting to buy a 60 millimeter camera, but it ended up with this video.
Wow.
And it changed our lives entirely because we became part of what they call the early video movement. And we joined a group called Rain Dance, and we edited a magazine called Radical Software. Now, software in those days wasn't what we think of it as today. This was the content. So the hardware is the machine, the software was the content, and the radical software was, whoa, everything was happening, and we ended up teaching kids how to use video at the
Wow.
Metropolitan Museum of Art. And
That's like being in the right place. I mean, I hear your
Definitely.
story,
mhm.
and it certainly, as music was coming through you, and then meeting each other, and then moving into videography, and at the time and place, it's like a junction of many meant-to-bes. Now, when I think of Soundings of the Planet, I think of Dean. I always think of you and your flute, but I understand it's really both of you. So
Yes.
how
It's us and
how
many,
is it?
many people, really.
Yeah.
We have so many wonderful artists that we've collaborated with over the years.
such as
Well, such as Tom Barabbas, who's a Hungarian pianist, Scott Huckabee, a fabulous guitarist, a harpist named Dee Rachel, who lives in Mexico. I play harp. Li Shanting is a Chinese master
Master.
Guqin
Musician.
player. And then we even included the Dalai Lama on one of our albums called
Wow.
Prayer. So we have
how many albums?
We've got over 80 videos and albums that we've done over the
Wow.
years. And every year, we just released an album with Tim Alexander. He's the drummer from the band called Primus. Now, you may think of Primus as a sort of rock and roll band, but we got him together. And he
So
does
you
percussion.
invited people and were invited by people to collaborate to make music together.
We were like magnets for
Wow.
music. And this all happened after the 10 years of living in our school bus and doing video. So that all happened in the 70s. But and you wanted to know our Ram Dass story. So in 1979, we were invited to record a Ram Dass lecture and sell the cassettes. So this was in Tucson,
Oh.
Arizona. And he gave us permission to do it. He wanted to get his word out, what he'd been learning in India and all about meditation. So we got, we put a little order form here if you want to get this. It's $5. So we
Did
got
the people buy it right after the event?
well, they could get it
Right.
later, and we mail it to them. But it was
Okay.
$5. So we got 50 orders, and we thought, oh my gosh, 50. We had been doing video all through the 70s, and this was a half-inch, reel-to-reel, winded on a big deck, and nobody could play it back anywhere except for a few libraries and universities around the country. But we thought, wow, people have cassette players at home. So we thought, let's see what we might do. So that inspired us. Dean had been playing flute since he was 10 years old. So it was like he also was interested in recording nature. And
Uh-huh.
that was a big
Yeah,
thing.
nature was a big thing with us, and especially since during the 70s we had the opportunity to spend time with the native elders.
Really? Oh, while you were traveling in your bus.
Well, yes, and
Close to the
also
land
we
and
went
the
to the UN Conference on the Human Environment in '72, and Stuart Brant supported 15 Native Americans to go over there and speak to the UN. And so we got ourselves over there with our cameras, and we didn't know these Native people would be there.
Wow.
And we listened to them, and they're talking about Mother Earth and caring for the earth and seeing it as a living being. And this was an amazing way of thinking that we hadn't been part of.
You know, I so take for granted what we call Gaia, you know, the living earth. I so take it for granted. I've lived with it for most of my adult life, since at least in my 30s, early 30s. But for you, it was introduced as a new paradigm,
Yeah.
a completely new way to understand that there's an earth living, and to be respectful of it and in tune with it. And
Yeah.
speaking of in tune, I mean, that's really what you do. You're in tune with, and so nature spoke to you.
And we wanted to get the message out to people.
Yeah.
And we rationalized that probably someone talking about it is not going to do it, no matter how amazing the talk. So we decided to record nature in its beauty and then compose music that worked with the nature sounds.
Perfect,
And
a
then,
perfect storm of music and sound, right?
Yeah.
Nature.
It had never been done.
Perfect.
We'd heard recordings of nature, and we'd heard Paul Horn play flute in the Taj Mahal, but we had never heard the combination of the natural sounds with the music.
Ingenious.
And we wanted to get that energy into the places where people were making decisions about the environment. And that was a huge intention with Soundings of the Planet in the first years.
That really, now it really, I'm sitting here and I'm like, that really makes sense. And so,
And it was very peaceful music, so we
You
kind
had-
of came forth with this idea of peace through music. That
Right.
became our
I
motto.
was going to say, peace through music is your motto.
Yeah, and it was like we're children of the 60s, so it came out of the peace movement, but it was also nature and the environment and...
And also I'm feeling like there's a thread of activism in here too.
very much so, yeah.
So you're taking your talent with your vision, and then your intention, and then this sense that there's something more to reach more people, to be instrumental in making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that you've pretty much accomplished all of those means, and they're stepping stones to what is it that you've aspired to
We're
accomplish?
wanting the grand population of the planet to increase in consciousness so that it does embrace the concept of the earth as a living being, and take it into their hearts, take it into our hearts that that's the way it is. And we can love it for that.
Wow.
And the earth will give back to us. And it's important to take on this mission right now.
Yeah.
Because it's getting more and more delicate whether we're going to be able to make it as a species.
I know, whether or not it's sustainable. So isn't it interesting? You can go back 40 years or so, and 15 Native Americans, you happen to meet them, it's happenstance, and they still live with you. And what they stood for, that message, still lives, and you make it your resolve to carry that message further into the world. It's just, I say there's no such thing as a coincidence. It's really timely events coming together that really make things happen that are meant to happen. Are you feeling like your lives have been very on purpose? And if you are to really sum it up, what would you say has been, I'm going to ask each of you individually, what has been your greatest contribution to the planet Earth?
Well, I think the fact that we've been able to create a livelihood and share our dreams. We're really living the dreams that many people had in the 60s, living in harmony with nature, living in community. We had just gotten into yoga and meditation. We're learning how to overcome stress and how to be kinder, better people. So it all fits together. It's not just the planet, it's not just the people, it's how we as human beings work together in harmony with each other and find a balance. And I think that's what it's all about. So we're just honored that we've been able to be part of this sort of big movement. It's a movement of an epoch, I believe. And so being able to, tie that all together and also earn a living. People say, oh, you mean you're earning a living with your music? And we're saying, well, actually, yeah. We used to sell our cassettes at swap meets. Then we graduated to crafts fairs. Then we graduated to body mind conferences and spiritual, massage conferences and spa conferences. We traveled and we worked. I mean, we weren't sitting around. There's one thing, you write down your dreams and you focus on it is one thing. There's the other thing is do it. You get out there and you do it, and you do it day by day. And at one point, Dean was replicating all the cassette tapes, and he had a watch that click every 30 minutes. He'd have to flip the tape. So it was like he lived his life in 30-minute increments. That's what we were doing. Boy. And we did so many things ourselves, and we never let people said, you're going to have to invent your own genre. There is no such thing as this kind of, it's improvisational, it's kind of jazz, it's kind of classical, but it's peaceful. So there was nothing like this.
What is the genre?
Well, it's New Age music and meditation and relaxation and stress reduction. So it all ties in. It's spiritual music, I would say. And we have albums that we collaborate with other artists that are mantras and chanting and all that sort of thing. And
beautiful music.
Do affirmations and meditation. So it's all in this genre of healing. Healing is a big thing. And that was something we didn't even realize when we were starting. We were focusing on the planet. But then people would come up to us at the swap meet and say, this music is so relaxing. It's really helped me deal with my chronic pain. Or these children with autism, are able to be
cancer, children's cancer ward in Canada.
Yeah. How about for you? What I got the big story of what it's been like. What has it been like for you from this growth through delivering and bringing your music?
It's amazing.
Indeed.
To be able to do what we do, I'm just totally honored. And I want to support others in reaching their goals and reaching into their intuition and their intention, that they can love themselves enough to get in touch with themselves to go for what they're here for on the planet.
That's a beautiful message. I as you say it, I feel it. It's like I'm sitting right next to you. I'm the recipient of that, and growing in living your dream come true.
Yeah.
You mentioned before writing down to actualize your vision, your dream. It's a good thing you talked about the action. Did you guys have a plan? Did you have, did you ever sit down after studying Tony Robbins or one of the other leaders that you need a vision, you need a plan, a 3-year, a 5-year, a 10-year, what's the trajectory, how much money are you making, what are you doing, what are you doing it?
We didn't ever do it that way. What we did is we worked with the principles. And the principles are, I love to tell this story. There's 2 aspects. One is go with the flow. This was a new thing.
This is good.
What is go with the flow? Because it was a brand new idea, and resist not evil. Those kind of things came up in the late 60s when we were, and particularly in the 70s when people were really opening up spiritually. So it was, something would happen, and instead of resisting it mightily, you learn to flow with it. But that's not where it ends. The other one is you create your own reality. And a lot of people think of that as conflicting ideas. And I write about that in the book.
I'm going to hold the book on Quieting the Monkey Mind, How to Meditate with Music. This really is in the book very much. So you create your own reality.
Well, and the fact that something comes up, Dean and I were very fortunate that we met when we were young. We were in our mid-20s. So we were able to, and we also were ready for each other. So when we finally met, it was time to, and we were able to form a relationship and continue. But we also had the same dream. We wanted to do something meaningful, make life matter. We wanted to make our lives matter.
Right.
And we wanted to help improve the condition of the planet and the people and the society and what was happening. So we were always aiming in that direction. So when we were with our video during the 70s in our school bus, and we pointed in a direction where the spiritual leaders were professing and where the native people were sharing, and we learned so much. And so then once you kind of realize what the principles are, this is how the universe works. This is how it works. If you follow these principles, it doesn't have to be a religion or anything like that. It's just being aware of this happens, then that happens.
So you're led. I mean, really.
Yeah.
So you'll be led. Some doors will
Yeah.
open, but you're not going to go knock a door down if there's so much resistance. You're going to say, wow, this is not the flow. Take a little step back and wait and see which direction.
But don't give up, and don't. I mean, there was a time this was in the 2000s when our biggest distributors had gone bankrupt, and our outlets, there was just all sorts of weird things happening when the election. We didn't know who the president was in 2000, and we lost a lot of money over that period of time, and then our accountant had forgotten to, or wasn't able at that time to pay some tax thing. And then later on, Dean notices, like, aren't we supposed? She said, oh, don't worry, if you just keep paying, it'll be fine. Knock, knock on our door one day was the IRS guy coming and telling us we owed $80,000. I'm like, what?
Didn't that feel great, though, in a way? Like, wow, we owe $80,000. We must be earning good money. I mean, I always look at it
that
from
would be
another
fine.
point of
That's
view.
it. No, these were penalties and stuff.
But there was,
But he said, the guy said, he was very nice. He said, well, your situation looks pretty dismal. You might as well you could declare bankruptcy and not have to deal with it. But we didn't want to do that. Because
That was a recommendation from the IRS.
IRS said,
he said that.
nice
But we're
guy,
like-
he must have really liked your music.
He enjoyed working with us.
He was surprised because we were
bet.
very cooperative. But the thing is, we chose not to do that, and we worked out a payment plan, and we paid it off. And we could have left all our creditors high and dry, which some people have chosen to do, as we know.
So
But
another
that's-
third principle, take the high road.
Well, yeah, and honor your debts and pay them off and that sort of thing. So we kept going in that direction, and fortunately, because we didn't know that things would shift because we've gone from cassettes to CDs to downloads to, and now we're at the streaming, and we sold our music, oh my goodness, so many places, and all sorts of little mom and pop shops and yoga centers and massage, people and spas, and then not as many people are buying CDs, and eventually they're listening to it on streaming, and now with the streaming thing, if we had gone bankrupt and given up our business, we wouldn't have benefited from it.
Right.
But now, fortunately, we're like millions and millions and millions of people are listening to our music versus the hundreds and hundreds or thousands and thousands.
Right.
Because we stuck with it, we didn't give up, and we took the high road.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, really beautiful story.
Don't give up.
Very inspiring.
And okay to modify your dream. I mean, we dreamed we want to live out in the country with a lot of people and grow gardens. And so we did. So there were 20 people in a big old farmhouse outside of Woodstock. But, they didn't all chop wood, carry water, and, and then we went, okay, maybe.
Oh, that's when you meet your the parts of yourselves that you're like, I don't really like that.
Well, but then you change your dream and you modify it a little bit. So but we've always been we've always had a dream, we've always had a vision, and that's where we were going.
And it's the two, which
And
is
because
very,
the both
very
of us-
powerful. You're both feeding that same dream
Yes.
together as a magnification, like
Yes.
almost a domino effect to
We're
it.
not judging each other on it. We're just being there for each other and for the dream.
Right. Beautiful.
Gender.
And in the midst of this, you had a family and
Oh,
three
we had
children.
3
I
children
mean,
and-
you're like real people.
We're real people.
Am I really?
No, you know why? Because your music, okay, Dean and Dudley is in spas everywhere. Everyone, when they hear the music, they go, oh, I know this music because it's uplifting and it catapults you into a place where you do feel the peace on earth, where you do feel that the way is good. When I listen to your music, I feel safe in that moment. That's what happens. You get to feel safe for a second. And in this world, you can't do that all the time or often enough. So
Well, music,
what a blessing
it's
that
a
you've
carrier
created
wave.
that.
It's a carrier wave. Dean likes to talk about the
Like
Yeah,
a
isn't
radio is has a carrier wave.
Right.
Music carries the intention.
But you have a resonance in your music that's the same as the earth. Now I'm remembering.
Yes.
There's something that you put in your music that's the same
The
as
earth,
the earth frequency.
Earth resonance frequency, yeah.
Yeah, what's that
Yeah,
all about?
okay.
I mean, you're putting
Pic-
me into a dream
pic-
state
pic-
or something.
Picture a bottle
Okay.
and blowing across the bottle. You get a tone.
Okay.
Or a flute.
Okay.
Or a flute,
Tone
right.
and a
A
sound.
cavity.
Yeah.
A cavity, yeah. Picture the earth with its atmospheric cavity around it. That cavity has a resonance.
Okay.
A
A
tone.
frequency, a tone, a sound.
It fits for that.
For the whole earth, it's
For
the
the whole
same
earth, yeah.
everywhere, no matter how much mass there
The
is.
cavity of
That
of
cavity
the
around
spherical
there.
cavity around the planet.
And there's a tone. for
Yes, 7.83 cycles per second.
that. I have heard that before.
And there's controversy about that, of course, but that is the physical reality of the resonance.
Or the manifestation, how it
Right,
manifests.
and
Yeah.
actually a mathematician came up with calculations and just came up with the concept that it was 7.83. There are other harmonics and things like that. It's more complex.
I believe what you're saying.
But the simplest thing is realizing that nature is surrounded by this frequency all the time.
Mhm.
Every living being on the planet is part of that, has access to that.
Like
frequency.
we all have a heartbeat that has a frequency for this person.
Yeah.
This is a kind of like the sound for the planet. Soundings of the planet.
Yes.
But what's interesting is that our brains emit a frequency when we're in various states of consciousness. So you think about you're in the beta brainwave state. It's about 14 to 20 cycles per second or higher. That's when you're stressed or mentally
Engaged.
rationally active. Driving a car, computer or something. The next one down is the alpha state. And it's interesting because between 7 and 14 is the sort of the frequency. And right on the cusp of theta, which is the next lower one, which is a more meditative state. So between alpha and theta, you're kind of in a meditative, very relaxed state. Well, it just turns out that the earth resonance frequency is right there on the cusp of alpha and theta in the meditative state. And so because Dean adds it in the, under the mix of the music,
Right.
it ends up being,
Wow.
you're in training with it. So you're getting a double benefit from the peaceful, relaxing music, but you're also getting somewhat entrained on a brainwave
Right.
state
It's
to that
beautiful.
alpha theta state, which is where you want to be when you're in meditation, or it's also where you're open to healing.
Wow.
So that's how, just a scientific aspect.
No,
of how
I
it
mean
works.
it's actually fascinating because I know you for 20 years and I don't know this. I am learning this and I'm realizing I'm developing this even greater, and I have great respect, but even greater respect because not only do you make music, but you make music matter for the person who's listening to it, so that their receptivity and that the whole of their being will be in a vibratory relationship with what they're hearing, with the goal and the intention of it helping for them to heal, whatever healing is for them. So I'm really moved by what I'm hearing you say. There's been obviously growth, study, perseverance, intention, goodwill, taking the high road, pushing through, being guided. All of that has come together, and I'm not going to say it's culminated in, but what I'm holding in my hand is one of the most impressive books that I've held. I mean, I said it to you, since I opened Ram Dass's book, Be Here Now. Because when you open it and you go through, it's the pictures, the stories, the feelings, the images. It's almost as if the music is alive in the book. And the possibilities for an individual, because it's about quieting the monkey mind. And we all know we have this ongoing chatter. And you give in here a multitude of different ways the one that'll resonate for the reader. To how? I mean, even making a sacred altar. To some people want to chant. To some people want to do affirmations to music. It's comprehensive and beautiful. And now that I've got this book, I'm on to Google so I can give you a good review. But being that it's the culmination and just produced not that long ago, tell us about this, where people can get it, how they can get it. And my deepest gratitude for your honoring this relationship, this creation of love and the soundings of the planet. It's fabulous.
We're very blessed.
Yeah, truly.
And then we're going to be coming out with an ebook on March 1st. So you may be hearing this after March 1st, but it'll be on Amazon for a good while, and then it'll be available in other
and then an audio.
ebooks. Yeah, and then we'll do the audio book too. Good. And we'll be doing a course on daily Om. So it's just trying different formats, because Dean and I started doing yoga in the late 60s, and got into meditation then. So we've kind of
You've
pulled
come a long
together-
way, baby.
We've pulled together a lot of the, and of course, before I met Dean, I had lived in Japan, and I got into studying photography. So I just had so much fun.
Gorgeous.
Our son did the cover.
Plus the endorsements. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a list of endorsements. Naomi Judd is in there, and the Dalai Lama. And
Well, he didn't endorse it, but he's,
No, but
he's a good
pictures,
friend.
sorry,
Oh, you want the
pictures,
picture?
good friend. Yeah, I mean, there's so much. It's so beautiful. Look at this. What fun with Dean.
Yeah, he's
and
on
his beard that's been growing for 50 years.
Whenever he sees Dean, he likes to do this, and he gave Dean a big old hug.
Really
last time we
beautiful.
saw him.
I mean, I love Jan Van Sant. You have names in there that long of people who
Jack
have.
Canfield.
Yeah. So beautiful, beautiful work.
Thank you.
And beautiful, beautiful souls.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So, was there anything you felt important that we maybe didn't cover so that people would know? I certainly
Oh,
am
you can
happy.
you can certainly find us on soundings.com. That's our website.
Oh, yeah, that's
We've-
a perfect website.
We've had a website since 1990s. I think it's 96. So we got a one-word website. So
Yeah.
it's at soundings.com.
I have 2 words, 6 letters. AskLiz.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
Liz, we're going to go to that one too.
Thank you. Great.
Well, thanks, Liz. This has been
Yeah,
fun.
thank
Really
you.
great to be in your home
Yeah.
and just experience the beauty of your surroundings here and
Thank you.
get to hang out with you a little
So
bit.
happy to hang and be together. Let's go have some soup.
Yeah,
Okay.
happy day, peace through music, and happy anniversary.
Yes, happy anniversary to you both.
Thank you.
Lots of love. Always and forever. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.